Think about your most vivid memory. Maybe it's a childhood birthday, a breakup, a championship game, a humiliating moment in class. Now here's the uncomfortable question. How sure are you that it happened the way you remember it? Not very sure, if we're being honest. And I hate that, because we treat memory like a video file. Press play, retrieve the past, done. But memory is more like a story you keep rewriting every time you tell it.
Today we're pulling apart the illusion of objective memory. Not in a depressing way, like nothing is real and everything is made up. More in a revealing way. Your brain is constantly editing your history, and it does it for a reason.
That reason is surprisingly simple. Your brain isn't primarily trying to preserve the past accurately. It's trying to preserve you, the version of you that can function today.
So the episode is called Memory as Fiction. But we don't mean fiction as in lying on purpose. We mean fiction as in narrative. Plot. Themes. A main character. A consistent identity. Your brain wants your life story to make sense, even if it has to bend the facts a little.
And sometimes it bends them a lot, especially around trauma and triumph, the moments that define who you think you are.
Let's start with a common experience. Two people remember the same event completely differently. You argue with a sibling about what your parents were like. You and a friend disagree about who said what during a fight. One of you must be wrong, right?
Maybe. Or it might be that both memories were constructed in different directions from the beginning, because memory isn't pulled from a vault. It's assembled from pieces.
Here's a way to picture it. When something happens, your brain doesn't record the event as a single, unified thing. Different aspects get processed in different places. Sights, sounds, emotions, meaning, context.
And later, when you remember, you're not retrieving a perfect copy. You're rebuilding. Like you're reconstructing a scene from scattered notes, plus your current mood, plus whatever you've learned since, plus what you believe about yourself.
Which means that remembering isn't neutral. It's an act. It's work your brain does in the present.
And here comes a twist. When you rebuild a memory, your brain can store the rebuilt version, not the original. So every recall can be a rewrite.
That's one of the big reasons memory drifts. Not because you're careless, but because the system is designed for flexibility, not perfection.
Flexibility is useful. If memory were a strict archive, we'd be trapped. We couldn't update beliefs. We couldn't change how an event fits into our life story. We'd just keep reliving raw footage.
Which brings us to the brain's real priority: coherence. Your mind wants a consistent narrative. It wants to answer questions like, who am I? What kind of world is this? What should I expect?
And it will massage the past to keep those answers stable enough to function. That doesn't mean it's always comforting. Sometimes your narrative is harsh, but it is consistent.
Let's talk about self-image, because that's where the editing gets obvious. Most of us carry an internal character profile. I'm the responsible one. I'm unlucky in love. I always mess things up. I'm the tough one. I'm the peacemaker.
Then your brain goes hunting in your past for evidence that supports that profile. Not consciously, like you're trying to manipulate people, more like your attention. And recall, keep highlighting certain details and downplaying others.
So if you see yourself as the overlooked one, you'll more easily remember moments you were excluded, ignored, interrupted. If you see yourself as the achiever, you'll remember the wins more clearly than the quiet failures.
And when you stumble across contradictory evidence, your brain has options. It can revise the self-image, which is scary, or it can reinterpret the memory, which is deficient.
This is where people sometimes get defensive during arguments. Because you're not just debating facts. You're protecting a storyline. If someone challenges your memory, it can feel like they're challenging your identity.
Exactly. It's not you misremembered. It lands as you're not who you think you are, or you're the villain in your own story. And that's a hard pill.
Now, let's bring in trauma. Trauma memories can be intense, fragmented, or oddly missing pieces. Some people remember too much, in intrusive flashes. Others remember almost nothing for long stretches.
And both can make sense because the brain isn't just recording, it's managing threat. When something overwhelming happens, your brain's priority shifts: survive, then stabilize.
One way it stabilizes is by reshaping meaning. Not necessarily changing the sensory details, but changing the story the event becomes. It happened because I'm weak. It happened because people can't be trusted. It happened and I survived.
Those meanings are powerful because they guide your future. Your memory isn't only backward-looking. It's a tool for prediction. The past gets edited to teach you what to do next.
Which is why the brain sometimes sacrifices accuracy for usefulness. If a memory becomes a warning sign, a lesson, a rule, it may get simplified and intensified. It becomes a symbol.
And on the other side, with triumph, the brain can do something similar. It can polish the highlights, blur the messy parts, and strengthen the idea that you earned it, that it proves something fundamental about you.
Have you ever told a story from your past and realized it got better over time? The joke got funnier, the comeback got sharper, the odds got higher. That's not just you being dramatic. That's narrative sharpening.
Your brain is building a legend of you, not to deceive, but to maintain a steady sense of self, a protagonist with a recognizable arc.
Let's zoom into the biological machinery for a second, without turning this into a textbook. You've got systems that tag experiences with emotion, systems that store context, systems that decide what matters.
When something happens, the brain basically asks, is this important for survival or identity? Emotion is one of the strongest highlighters. That's why emotionally charged events tend to stick.
But that doesn't mean they stick accurately. Emotion can make a memory feel vivid and certain, even when details are wrong. That's one of the great traps. Confidence is not a guarantee of correctness.
Then there's the process of stabilization over time. The brain doesn't just store a memory and forget about it. It reorganizes it, integrates it with older knowledge, and files it under broader themes.
Which is helpful. If you had to store every moment as raw detail, you'd drown in your own past. Instead, your brain compresses. It extracts meaning. It generalizes.
But the cost of compression is distortion. You lose specifics. You gain a storyline.
And here's another key piece. Your current state matters. When you remember while you're anxious, your past can look more threatening. When you remember while you're depressed, your past can look like a chain of failures. When you remember while you're in love, even your worst moments can look romantic in hindsight.
It's like your brain keeps color grading your memories to match the mood of the present.
So if the brain is constantly rewriting, does that mean memory is useless? Not at all. It means memory is doing a different job than we assume.
Right. Memory is less like a courtroom record and more like a personal guidebook. It's designed to help you navigate now, using the past as raw material.
And that's where the phrase unreliable narrator becomes really helpful. In a novel, an unreliable narrator isn't pointless. They're interesting. They reveal their motives. They show how perception works. Your brain is the narrator, and its motive is psychological stability.
Sometimes stability means protecting the ego. That sounds negative, but the ego isn't just vanity. It's a structure that helps you make choices, set goals, and keep going. A fragile ego can't function.
So the brain smooths contradictions. It tidies embarrassing scenes. It reframes guilt. It emphasizes moments that support the identity you're trying to maintain.
And when your identity changes, your past can change with it. Think about that. You decide, I'm actually resilient. Suddenly you remember the times you got back up. You decide, I used to be cruel. Suddenly you recall moments you'd excused before.
It's not that those events didn't happen. It's that the spotlight moved. The meaning changed. The narrator revised the chapter headings.
This also explains why families can have totally different mythologies about the same childhood. Everyone is editing for their role. The caretaker, the rebel, the scapegoat, the golden child, the one who kept the peace.
And once those roles harden, memories start serving them. It becomes less about what happened and more about what the story needs to stay consistent.
Okay, but if our brains are rewriting things, how do we live with that without spiraling into nothing is true?
We start by getting more humble about certainty. Instead of "I remember exactly," we can say, "Here's how I remember it." That tiny shift makes room for complexity.
And we can separate two questions. Did it happen like that? And what did it mean to me? Memory is often more reliable about meaning than detail, but even meaning can evolve.
Another practical move is to notice when a memory is doing emotional labor. If recalling something always ends in shame, fear, or rage, ask, what purpose is this memory serving right now? Is it warning me? Punishing me? Protecting me from hope? Keeping me loyal to an old identity?
Because sometimes a narrator is stuck in an outdated draft. The memory isn't just a memory. It's a script you keep acting out.
And if you change the script, the past can feel different without you denying it. That's an important distinction. Reframing is not the same as pretending.
Let's make it concrete. Suppose you remember a public failure. You froze during a presentation. The old narrative is, "I'm terrible under pressure." That memory becomes proof.
But later, you might find a different meaning. "I was unprepared," or "I was overwhelmed," or "I was young," or even "I lived through that and it didn't end me." Same event, new interpretation, different identity.
Now your brain rewrites the memory to fit the revised you, not by erasing the moment, but by changing how it sits in the larger storyline.
There's also a caution here. Because if memory is reconstructive, it can be influenced. Leading questions, repeated retellings, social pressure, even the way someone reacts when you tell a story can shape what you later remember.
Which is why being careful with other people's memories matters, especially around painful experiences. When someone is vulnerable, they're also impressionable. The narrator is taking notes.
So, what do we take away today? Your brain is not a camera. It's a storyteller. It edits and arranges the past to keep your present self coherent.
And that can be protective. It can also create blind spots. It can lock you into roles. It can make you argue over details that were never stored the way you think.
But if you can hold that truth gently, it's freeing. You can treat your memories like drafts instead of verdicts. You can keep what helps you grow and question what keeps you small.
Maybe that's the real point. The past isn't just behind you. It's being rewritten inside you all the time. The question is whether you want to participate in that rewrite consciously.
Next time you feel absolutely certain about a memory, try this. Ask what the story is trying to protect. Your pride. Your pain. Your identity. Your sense of safety.
Because when you find a motive, you understand the narrator. And when you understand the narrator, you can start to tell a truer story. Not necessarily a more factual one, but a more honest one.
That's it for today. Hold your memories with curiosity, not just conviction. And if you catch yourself rewriting, remember, your brain isn't broken. It's doing what it evolved to do. Keep the present self intact.
And maybe with a little awareness, we can turn that instinct from self-protection into self-understanding.